Hey everybody, welcome to Wow Wednesday. Um, Today we're going to talk a little bit about the housing market and where we are and where I kind of see us going over the next foreseeable future, and it's a very short foreseeable future, probably 3 to 6 months. Um, right now, the Fed sees employment is getting better. That's a hot topic, but we definitely are getting a little better, but we need to see a lot more improvement for sure. And with the PUA funding ending, which that's the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance ending, that should help with the employment numbers. Families really need to replace that $300 a week that they're going to be losing here pretty soon. A little deeper into what the Fed is doing right now as far as mortgages and how they're propping us up. The Fed is buying about about $40 billion in mortgage-backed securities every month. And what they're saying is that they're going to shrink that number by 25%. The market freaks out a little bit, saying, okay, the Fed's not buying. What are we going to do? Where are these going to go? What they're not saying is what they are doing is they're taking those funds that they have now, the principal payments that are being paid, the payoffs, where it's a refi or a home sale. They're not counting those as a buyback, but they're taking those funds and reinvesting them into the pot. So if they're shrinking what they're buying, that $40 billion, they're not truly shrinking the overall expenditure into mortgage-backed securities. So what we're going to see is a very small impact if that ever happens. It's going to be a bigger impact in the media, which means a bigger impact into what the consumer thinks and does based on what they're reading. The sky is not falling no matter what the media tells us. Again, the Fed's going to reinvest those funds they get and move on from there. So it'll probably turn out to be something like a 10% decrease, which is very small when you're talking trillions of dollars. The other issue that is kind of being talked about is the foreclosure forbearance issues. But again, is this really an issue? Many folks that are in forbearance, they're still making payments, or maybe they're just kind of along for the ride, thinking that they have a free ride for a few months. They have the money, but they're just not making the payment until they have to, or hopefully they don't have to. I think it will be a small amount of families that are truly affected. And again, any number of folks that are affected is an issue, and we need to address that. But I think that this program that was put in place was a good idea, but it was not executed as it should have been. We shouldn't have been allowed to put people into forbearance that didn't actually need it. Or if they were in forbearance, they should have had to come up with a good story rather than just type in, I would like to be in forbearance to the mortgage company and then get it for 6 months. That's going to backfire. But again, on a national scale, I don't think the effect of forbearance or coming out of forbearance is going to be a national issue. And I also believe that to be true with the potential foreclosure issue. The eviction moratorium that President Biden had tried to extend is not being extended. So I believe it's about 30 more days before that goes into place, and landlords and companies will be able to evict folks that haven't been paying for up to almost 2 years now, which is insane that we're protecting those people, but not the people that actually own the home that are trying to make their mortgage payments, and they need those funds. I do think that families that when it comes to push to shove, they need those funds. I think they will come up with those funds. Otherwise, they're going to have to move out and find a new home. They're not going to be pitching tents. I don't think we're going to see an increase in the homeless population. Families will find a way to get that money, whether it's in their current home or they're going to be under a different roof. But I think that will lend itself to another helpful issue. I'm sure a landlord going through this for the past 2 years has a bad taste in his mouth for home ownership on the rental side, being a landlord. So he might sell that property, he or she, or that company might sell those properties, therefore increasing the inventory, which we still have a severe lack of. So we're 12% lower than where we were year over year from this time last year. And I think that's going to help this problem as well. The bottom line to all of this is that we are not in the same place in 2021 as we were in 2007. Like I said, inventory is down 12% year over year now, and we're still seeing 18% appreciation. And yes, 18% appreciation is not sustainable, and that needs to be more in line with historic numbers, somewhere in the 3 to 6 range. Probably sitting somewhere in the middle of 4% would be where we need to be nationwide. We're always going to have pockets that are higher, lower, but I think as a national average, if we're in the 4% range, we're strong and there's no housing issue. The issue we have now is obviously inventory, but we do not have a bubble issue. In 2007, we had 3.7 million homes for sale. Today, that same number, I believe, is in the $1.2 million range. It's not the same game. And along with that, one big factor that no one really talks about is birth rate. I know it's kind of an odd thing to think about. Birth rate in 33-year-olds. The birth rate in 1974 was much lower than it was in 1988. And the reason that this is a factor is that, it's definitely odd, but it is a factor because the median age for first-time home buyers is 33. So what that tells us, in 1974 to 2007, we didn't have a whole lot of first-time home buyers, so there was an attrition of people that were looking to buy that house. So that kind of helped into the whole foundational building block of where the issues were. We didn't have first-time home buyers. Now we have first-time home buyers, and the birth rate was strong through the late 80s and the 90s. So we're going to have 33-year-olds continuing for the next several years, which is going to help this whole process. That translates to a strong continued first-time homebuyer market today, where it didn't in 2007 and 2008 and upwards into 2010. But that's it. The bottom line is, I think we're in a strong market, especially here in the Washington, D.C. area. But nationwide, I think we're looking good. No housing bubble is the bottom line. We do have an inventory shortage, and appreciation needs to come down a little bit. And we're working through issues that this country is seeing, obviously with the Afghanistan issue and how that was handled. But stay tough. The sky is not falling, and have a great day. I will see you next Wednesday. If there's anything that you need, please don't hesitate to reach out to the Davis team at Cross Country Mortgage. Thanks, guys.